You think too much, fix it now. You're lying in bed right now, or maybe you're sitting somewhere staring at nothing, and your brain won't shut up. It's replaying that conversation you had 3 days ago. It's simulating a future that hasn't happened yet. It's asking questions that have no answers. And the worst part? You know you're doing it. You can feel yourself spiraling. But you can't stop. That's not a personality trait. That's not who you are. That is a problem, and today, we are going to fix it. My name is your name, and if you've been struggling with overthinking, anxiety, analysis paralysis, or a mind that never gives you a moment of peace, this video was made specifically for you. Stay until the end, because I'm going to give you the most practical, real-world system I've ever put together for breaking the overthinking cycle for good. And before we go any further, if this kind of content speaks to you, hit that subscribe button right now. Every single week I put out videos designed to help you master your mind, rewire your habits, and build a life you actually feel good living. You don't want to miss what's coming. Subscribe, and let's get into it. Part 1: What overthinking actually is. Let's start with the truth nobody tells you. Overthinking is not a sign that you're smart. It's not a sign that you care deeply. It's not even a sign that you're cautious or responsible. Overthinking is a sign that your brain has gotten confused about its own job. Here's what I mean. Your brain evolved to solve problems. That's its function. When you face a threat, a real, physical threat, your brain kicks into high gear, analyzes the situation, and produces a response. That system is brilliant. It kept our ancestors alive for hundreds of thousands of years. But here's the problem. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a lion chasing you through the forest and an email from your boss that says, "Can we talk?" Both of them activate the same threat response. Both of them trigger that same relentless, analytical, problem-solving overdrive. And unlike the lion, which either catches you or doesn't within about 30 seconds, the email from your boss can haunt you for days. This is why overthinking feels like it's protecting you. Your brain genuinely believes it's keeping you safe. It thinks that if it just analyzes the situation one more time, it'll find the answer that makes everything okay. But there is no answer. Because most of the things we overthink aren't actually problems to be solved. They're uncertainties to be tolerated. Write that down if you need to. Most overthinking is not a problem-solving exercise. It's an uncertainty avoidance exercise. And the tragic irony is that overthinking doesn't reduce uncertainty, it amplifies it. Every time you run a scenario through your head again, you generate new variables, new possibilities, new what-ifs, and suddenly you have 10 problems where you used to have one. This is the overthinking loop. And once you're in it, it is very hard to get out, unless you understand the 3 core mechanics of how it works. Mechanic 1: The repetition illusion. Your brain believes that thinking about something repeatedly is the same as making progress on it. It's not. Rumination, which is the clinical term for obsessive, repetitive thinking, produces the same thoughts in the same order every single time. It's not analysis. It's a recording playing on a loop. You are not getting closer to an answer. You are just exhausting yourself. Mechanic 2: Future fabrication. A huge percentage of overthinking is not about what has happened, it's about what might happen. Your brain runs simulations of the future, and because it's wired for threat detection, it almost always simulates the worst-case scenario. And then it treats that simulation as if it's real. As if the bad thing has already happened. And you suffer through it emotionally, not once, but dozens of times, for something that may never occur. Mechanic 3: The perfectionism trap. For a lot of overthinkers, the loop is driven by a hidden belief that there is a perfect answer out there, and if you just think hard enough, you'll find it. This belief keeps you analyzing indefinitely, because every potential decision has a flaw. Every path has a risk. And so you stay frozen, waiting for a certainty that never comes. These 3 mechanics, repetition, fabrication, and perfectionism, are the engine of chronic overthinking. And now that you see them clearly, we can start to dismantle them. Part 2: The cost you're paying. Before I give you the solutions, I need you to understand what overthinking is actually costing you, because most people underestimate this enormously. It's costing you time. The average overthinker spends between 2 and 5 hours per day in unproductive mental loops. That's not time you're using to rest. That's not time you're using to create, or connect, or experience your life. That's time that vanishes into the void of, what if, and should I, and but what about? Over a year, that's somewhere between 700 and 1800 hours. Think about what you could build with 1800 hours. It's costing you your health. Chronic overthinking keeps your nervous system in a state of low-grade stress activation. Cortisol, your stress hormone, stays elevated. And elevated cortisol over time does serious damage. It disrupts your sleep. It weakens your immune system. It increases inflammation throughout your body. It contributes to depression and anxiety disorders. Your thoughts are not just abstract mental events. They have physical consequences. It's costing you your relationships. When you're deep in an overthinking spiral, you're not present. Your partner is talking to you, and you're not there. Your kids are playing, and you're somewhere else entirely, inside your own head, running scenarios. Overthinking creates a glass wall between you and the people you love. You're there physically, but mentally you've checked out. It's costing you your confidence. Every time you overthink a decision and then second-guess it afterward, you train your brain to trust itself less. You build a track record, in your own mind, of uncertainty and indecision. And over time, that erodes your self-trust to almost nothing. Small decisions start to feel like major crises. You begin to genuinely doubt your own judgment. And that is a devastating place to live from. And finally, it's costing you your present moment. This might be the most painful cost of all. Right now, in this moment, your life is actually happening. There are things to experience, people to love, beauty to notice, work to do that matters. And overthinking pulls you out of all of it. You are missing your own life because your brain keeps dragging you into a past that's over or a future that doesn't exist yet. You deserve better than that. And the people who depend on you deserve the version of you that's actually present. So let's talk about how to get there. Part 3, the 5-part fix. This is the core of the video. 5 strategies. Each one targets a different part of the overthinking cycle. Use all 5 together, and you will see real change within days. Fix 1. Name the spiral. The single most underrated tool in cognitive psychology is something called metacognitive awareness, which is a complicated way of saying, becoming aware of your own thinking. Most overthinkers are so inside the spiral that they can't see it from the outside. They're not thinking about their thoughts, they're just having them, automatically, without any distance or perspective. The first fix is to create that distance. Here's how. The moment you notice you're in an overthinking loop, you stop, and you literally name what's happening out loud or in writing. Not the content of the thoughts. The pattern. I'm catastrophizing. I'm running simulations about a future that hasn't happened. I'm repeating the same thought for the 12th time. I'm looking for certainty in a situation that doesn't have any. This act of naming is not just labeling. It does something neurological. When you activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for language and executive function, you actually dampen the activity in the amygdala, which is the threat detection center driving the spiral. You are literally using words to calm your own nervous system. The research on this is solid. A study from UCLA found that putting feelings and thought patterns into words reduced amygdala activation significantly, even more than distraction did. So every time the spiral starts, name it. Don't fight it. Don't judge yourself for it. Just name it, clearly and calmly. I'm overthinking again. I see you. I know what you are. That alone will interrupt the loop more reliably than almost anything else. Fix 2. The 2-minute rule for decisions. A massive portion of overthinking happens around decisions, big and small. What to eat. What to say. Whether to send the email. Whether to take the job. Whether to end the relationship or stay in it. And here's the pattern. The longer you delay a decision, the worse your thinking gets. Because delay creates space for your brain to generate more scenarios, more risks, more variables, and the pile of considerations grows until it's completely unmanageable. So here's the fix. You're going to implement what I call the 2-minute rule for decisions. It works like this. First, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? If the honest answer is no, you make the decision in under 2 minutes. You don't allow more time than that. You go with your gut, you commit, and you move on. No second guessing allowed. If it will matter in 5 years, you move to the second step, set a decision deadline. Not, I'll think about it more. A specific time. I will decide by Thursday at noon. And then you stop thinking about it until that deadline arrives. This might sound too simple. But here's why it works. Overthinking thrives in open-ended time. When the decision has no deadline, your brain treats it as an ongoing emergency that requires constant attention. When you give it a deadline, your brain recognizes that the problem is being managed, and it can relax. The other thing this does is train you to trust yourself faster. Every time you make a quick decision and it turns out fine, which it usually does, you build evidence that your instincts are trustworthy. That evidence accumulates. And over time, decisions that used to take you 3 days of agonizing thought start taking 3 minutes. Practice this every single day, starting with low-stakes decisions. What to have for lunch? Which route to take? What to watch tonight? Make it fast. Commit. Move on. You are training a muscle. Fix 3. Scheduled worry time. This one sounds counterintuitive. But it's one of the most well-validated techniques in cognitive behavioral therapy, and I want you to actually try it before you dismiss it. You are going to schedule a specific time each day, 15 to 20 minutes, same time every day. That is your designated worry time. During this window, you are allowed to think about everything that's bothering you. All the scenarios, all the concerns, all the anxieties. This is your time to give them full attention. But here's the rule. Outside of that window, worrying is not allowed. When a worrying thought shows up at 11 in the morning and your worry window is at 6 in the evening, you don't engage with it. You say, out loud if necessary, that's a valid concern. I'll address it at 6. And you write it down so you don't forget it. And then you redirect your attention. What this does is profound. It retrains your brain's relationship to anxiety and uncertainty. Instead of your brain treating every anxious thought as an emergency that demands immediate attention, it starts to learn that these thoughts have a container. A place to go. A time when they'll be handled. Most people who try this find that by the time their scheduled worry window arrives, at least half of what they wrote down no longer feels urgent or important. The anxiety that felt overwhelming at 11 in the morning has dissolved by 6 in the evening, because the situation resolved itself, or because it simply wasn't as serious as it felt in the moment. And for the things that are still concerning at your worry window, now you think about them intentionally, with energy and focus, instead of in a scattered, anxious loop. That's the difference between rumination and actual problem solving. Fix 4. Body first, brain second. Here's something the self-help industry chronically underteaches. You cannot think your way out of overthinking. Because overthinking is not just a thought pattern. It's a nervous system state. And you cannot change a nervous system state with more thinking. You have to go through the body. When you're in an overthinking spiral, your nervous system is in sympathetic activation, the fight or flight state. Your heart rate is elevated. Your breathing is shallow. Your muscles are tense. Your body is in stress mode. And as long as your body is in stress mode, your brain will keep generating anxious, looping thoughts, because that's what a stressed nervous system does. The fastest way to break the overthinking loop is to shift your physiological state. And here are the 3 most effective ways to do that. Physical movement. Walking, specifically rhythmic, bilateral movement where your arms swing and your left and right sides alternate, has been shown to reduce rumination dramatically. Even a 10-minute walk can interrupt a spiral that's been running for hours. This is not metaphorical. Walking activates bilateral brain stimulation that calms the threat detection circuits. Go outside if you can. If you can't, walk around your room. Physiological sigh. This is the fastest single intervention for nervous system regulation that exists. Take a double inhale through the nose, inhale, then sniff in more air at the top, and then release with one long, slow exhale through the mouth. Do this 3 times. Your heart rate will drop noticeably within 60 seconds. This technique was validated by researchers at Stanford and it is incredibly effective. Cold exposure. A cold shower, even just 30 seconds of cold water at the end of your regular shower, activates the vagus nerve, triggers a release of norepinephrine, and resets your nervous system in a way that almost nothing else can match. It also builds distress tolerance, which directly counteracts the avoidance mechanism at the core of overthinking. Do it. It's uncomfortable for 30 seconds. The mental clarity you get on the other side is worth it. Pick at least one of these 3 every time you catch yourself in a spiral. Body first. Brain second. Fix 5. Redirect to action. The final fix is the simplest, and often the most powerful. Every time you notice you're overthinking, ask yourself this one question. What is one thing I can do right now? Not think. Do. A physical action. Send the email. Make the call. Write the first sentence. Go to the gym. Have the conversation. Take one step. Overthinking is motion without direction. Action is direction without hesitation. And the moment you move from thinking into doing, even a small, imperfect action, the overthinking spiral collapses. Because your brain can't maintain the loop when you're actively engaged in reality. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to solve the whole problem. You just have to do one thing. Right now. This is not just motivational language. This is neurological fact. Action produces dopamine. Dopamine shifts your brain state. And a shifted brain state breaks the loop. One thing. Right now. Every time. Part 4. Building the long game. Those 5 fixes will give you immediate relief. But if you want permanent change, if you want to actually rewire the way your brain operates, you need to build daily practices that address the root causes of chronic overthinking. Here are the 4 root causes, and the practices that target each one. Root cause 1. An underregulated nervous system. If your nervous system never gets a chance to genuinely reset, if you go from screen to screen, task to task, stimulation to stimulation, it will stay chronically activated. And a chronically activated nervous system defaults to anxious, looping thought. The practice, daily stillness. 10 minutes every morning with no input. No phone. No music. No podcast. Just sit. Breathe. Let your nervous system downregulate. This is the single most high-leverage habit you can build for mental clarity. Root cause 2. Sleep deprivation. Your prefrontal cortex, which is your rational, decision-making, perspective-taking brain, runs almost entirely on sleep. When you're sleep-deprived, your amygdala becomes hyperreactive and your prefrontal cortex loses the ability to regulate it. You become, literally, more fearful and less rational. And overthinking explodes. The practice, protect your sleep like it's your most important asset, because it is. 7 to 9 hours. Consistent sleep and wake times. No screens in the hour before bed. This is non-negotiable if you're serious about fixing your thinking. Root cause 3. Lack of physical challenge. Human beings were not designed to sit still and think. We were designed to move, to face physical challenges, to use our bodies, to experience the world through exertion. When we don't, our nervous system interprets the stillness as stagnation, and it creates its own stimulation through anxious thought. The practice, regular, challenging physical exercise. Not a walk, though walks are great. I mean exercise that genuinely taxes you, that makes you breathless, that challenges your muscles, that gives your body a real problem to solve. When your body is solving real problems, your mind doesn't need to manufacture fake ones. Root cause 4. Lack of meaning and direction. This is the one that nobody wants to hear, but I'm going to say it anyway. A lot of chronic overthinking is a symptom of a life that lacks clear purpose and direction. When you don't know what you're building or where you're going, your brain fills the vacuum with noise. All that thinking energy has nowhere to go, so it cycles inward, generating anxiety, doubt, and rumination. The practice: get clear on what you're building. Not a perfect life plan. Just a direction. What matters to you? What kind of person do you want to become? What are you working toward? Even a rough, imperfect answer to those questions gives your mental energy somewhere to go. And when your energy has direction, overthinking drops dramatically. Part 5: The Identity Shift. I want to close with something that goes deeper than all the techniques. All the fixes I've given you today will work. But for them to stick, for this to be a permanent change rather than a temporary relief, you need to make an identity shift. Right now, many of you identify as an overthinker. It's not just something you do. It's part of who you believe you are. I'm just an anxious person. I've always been like this. My brain just won't shut off. I'm asking you to let go of that identity. Not because it's untrue about your past. It's clearly been true. But because identities are not fixed. They are chosen, every single day, through the actions we take and the stories we tell about ourselves. You are not an overthinker. You are someone who has been overthinking, and who is now choosing a different way of operating. That's a crucial distinction. One is a prison. The other is a process. Every time you name a spiral instead of drowning in it, you are becoming someone who thinks clearly. Every time you make a decision in 2 minutes instead of 2 weeks, you are becoming someone who trusts themselves. Every time you take one action instead of running one more scenario, you are becoming someone who moves. This is how identity changes. Not through one dramatic moment. Through 1,000 small daily choices that add up, over time, into a completely different person. You are capable of that change. I've seen it happen. And you can start right now. So let's bring it all together. You think too much. Your brain has gotten confused about its own job, and it's been running a loop that's costing you your time, your health, your relationships, and your peace of mind. But that loop is not permanent. It's a pattern. And patterns can be changed. You have 5 immediate fixes: name the spiral, use the 2-minute decision rule, schedule your worry time, regulate through your body first, and redirect to action. And you have 4 long game practices: daily stillness, protected sleep, physical challenge, and clear direction. Pick one thing from this video and start today. Not tomorrow. Today. Because that's the other thing overthinkers do, they think about starting instead of starting. So we're not doing that. One thing. Today. And if this video helped you, if any part of this landed for you, I want to ask you for something. Subscribe to this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Because this is what I do here. Every week, I put out content like this: real, practical, research-grounded tools for mastering your mind and building a life that actually feels like yours. You clearly care about growth. You made it through an entire hour of content on how to think better. That tells me you're serious. So stay connected. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. You might change someone's week. Thank you for being here. Now go take one action. I'll see you in the next video.